Okay, so yeah. Hi everyone. Thank you for joining in. I usually don't do this sharing of the diary, but I think all of you have seen my travel diary in stages. And a little bit of it I also completed when I came back. So the half done images have then been fully colored, and then I've written a whole lot of text around it also. Now I've been little bit of background. I've been doing travel diaries since 2011. But this time I said I'm going to finish this diary in the time that I am traveling. So I was frantically trying to put in pictures, write notes, or collect a whole lot of stuff with which I could fill in the whole diary. The aim was that when I came back, the diary would be done. But all I can say is that at least I finished all the pages, and it took me about 10 days after coming back just to put things properly and write all the information and the experiences around it. So you'll see much of it is illustrated, but there's also a lot of stuff that I've collected that I've pasted to just bring back home a memory of all the places that we visited. So this is how it turned out. I've been collecting a lot of stickers through the trip, and all of these I have pasted after coming back. So on one of the flights, we got a napkin which said exactly this, and I thought, okay, this is the best thing to put in the diary because it gets you curious to know about where we're going. And I started this page. I'm going to go over the places that we went to, and then I can introduce everyone that we visited over here. So we first landed in Houston, which is Pradeep Madhavi's house. Pradeep is Jaideep's brother. Um, so he's here on the call as well. Then we went to San Francisco and went to all these places where the place that we visited last was in San Francisco downtown at Jaggi and Rabia's house. They're both over here also. Then we went to Vancouver for a wedding, and from there back to Pradeep's house, who took us to New Orleans with them for a weekend. That was fabulous. And then we went to Chicago, where again we met a bunch of people, of whom Ritika here, she is present on the call. I'm forgetting Shruti, who also is in Houston, who attended a very impromptu workshop I took over there on making gift boxes. And then we went to Nashville, where my cousin Ranjit stays. Mitali, his wife, is on the call right now. And then finally, San Antonio, where I attended a workshop in calligraphy for a week. So this was our entire trip. And I made this page because I wanted to just get stuff in my head about what I wanted to do during the trip. Also, I wrote that I had bought a new pen and I was going to try it out for the first time. So when I make a diary, I try to put in the experience of that time. Uh, because many years later, when you look at your travel journals, you will want to remember those experiences for the experience itself. So this is one thing that I enjoy doing on airports, just making pictures of travelers. Because very often in airports, this is one category of subject which you will find still for long hours. They're all generally sitting on their phones or just hunched over their bags, taking a nap, and they stay still for a long enough time. So this is really enjoyable. And this is something new I tried, making a picture of the airplane itself. So an international flight takes a long time to fill up, and we had a long time just sitting and watching this out of the window. So I'm just going to share one of the pictures of this plane, so you know what we saw. And Yeah, this is us all happy and ready to leave. And this is what we were seeing for a long time. So you see a little silhouette of me standing in the window, also trying to draw this. And again, another stationary object, any object that can stay stationary for a long time, you can make a sketch out of. From here, we went to Dubai for a layover, and I had to sketch this beautiful coffee shop. I might try to show you like this. So it's a little tough when you're in a public place. You may or may not have place to sit. So I try to find a place where I can just at least rest my hand and quickly pen the illustration. This is as much as I finished during that time. And then later on, I colored it up in flight. So I'm going to show you the next few pictures. This is the earlier picture which I had drawn but not colored, and I painted it in flight. And this is typically me while everyone else is sleeping. You can see the paintbrushes in my hair. I'm happily illustrating. And a few other pictures I'll show you, which also I illustrated. Food illustration is always great. And then there was this map. So I colored this up much later, and then I made this map. And it's fun. Making maps is not as difficult as you might see. If I were to put this on a map, no proportions would be accurate. But if we get a general shape, we know what we're talking about. And anyway, I don't think anybody is going to navigate using my map. So this is good enough to just decorate a page. This was the in-flight lunch, and I left a lot of space because we were going to get a lot of meals, but then I had to move forward. So this is one of the only pages that is really, really vacant, and I just left it like that. So when I write the experiences, I try to write about that moment, keeping it very brief. And with Southwest, actually, there was so much, it's so much fun because on Southwest, I think one of the USPs is to make the whole announcement process very funny and fun. And we were lucky to get a crew that was absolutely brilliant. So I've written a little bit about that. So this page also started out first with drawing people just waiting around, and then I filled this up with what gate we went to and a little bit of the planes. So this is what I saw and just made the colors are really beautiful. So I just took one of these and I made that. This is not necessarily our flight, but that's what we made. Oh. So this brings us to California, and we stayed with Jaideep's cousins, Sanjay and Vandana, and they took us to Carmel by the Sea, an absolutely beautiful town of artists and made for art itself. So here again, we had so much opportunity to sketch. So I typically will click a lot of pictures everywhere. And then many times I paint some of, draw some of it on location or click pictures and then come back and illustrate. So here's the pen illustration, and here's what it finally turns out. The next place was in Carmel itself, but this picture I made on another visit that I went with another friend. And this is an absolutely charming little cove, which I think everyone goes to and clicks selfies. It almost looks like out of a fairy tale. So I had to take time out and go and stand there while everybody else in the group went ahead to the restaurant and had a couple of drinks. And I made this illustration. Only this much, just the line art. But if you see later on, a lot of the details were added from that photograph. This was in Santana Row, where we had visited earlier. And the best bit about this illustrating a journal is that you click pictures, you may or may not see or know any information about what you are seeing. But when you illustrate or you take the time to illustrate and you need to write something, you can always find out something more about it. So apparently, this archway was brought in from a castle in France and was installed over here. And then there's a whole lovely story about how Santana Row was developed to be like a little village. Our first day in Los Gatos, I had to go and paint the beautiful downtown they have. And this is, I've actually made an Instagram live about this painting. So that's also a nice thing to see. So this is where my cutting pasting begins. That there are some things that you see that obviously you can't paint all of those things. So I just collect them and then I compose and then I write a little bit about all these places. This was the restaurant where I had painted these the first pictures, but there was no room to write it over here. So I've just taken their menu card and pasted that over here as a memory. And this is a gallery by a local artist in Carmel called Thomas Kincaid, whose postcard I put up over here. And this is one of the cheats that I did during this time to just fill up pages, but still keep them interesting. This brings us to, yeah, this was in Belmont. So what I did was in every place that I went, I just wrote the name of the town that we were living in. And this is my friend Elena's dog, Leia. And she did Leia a lot. So it was very easy to draw pictures of her. I have a picture of me sketching her. Oh. Oh, it's there somewhere. So we went to the Wine and Jazz Festival at Half Moon Bay. That was again with Elena and Ash. And it somehow Elena and Ash have this knack of this. This is the second time I'm visiting them. They know these lovely little places that we often go on practically every weekend. So I think they've been here before. It was a really beautiful festival. And I think a few weeks before or after that, they had an art and wine festival as well. And later we went to the Ritz. So on Half Moon Bay, I think this is the place to go to because there's a golf course and a very beautiful hotel, the Ritz Carlton, which has a lovely view of the ocean. Now this is a sticker I collected because we saw a whole lot of pelicans in this space. So I decorated the page with pelicans. And I would never have remembered this if I did not put a sticker there. Now this is in Pier 39. It's a very beautiful place. So I mean, one is spoiled for choice what to pick. So I just chose something very iconic, very dramatic. Just one small kiosk that sold churros and corn dogs. And that is enough to bring back that memory. Asad Moma is almost like a temple for me, so I love going there every time. And this time I decided to draw a feel of the gallery itself, and I stuck these tickets. Seeing paintings of some modern giants is always wonderful, and I would have painted these, but then to save time, I just bought the stickers and stuck them. And I wrote a little bit about them that I found there. Now, This was a small cafe we found at Haight Ashbury. This is where when we were staying with Juggy and Rabia. Their home is in such a beautiful location. You just walk down and you have these all sorts of lovely places that one can visit, very evocative of the flower power generation. And it took me a long time, but I had to recreate that the sign of the cafe itself. It's such a quaint Art Deco design. I just couldn't not do it. And this is again a postcard from a place where you get only tie-dye stuff. It's the whole place, it's like eyes are mesmerized. The store looks pretty much like this when you go in. Again, a few food and stickers from the same place. And of course, I had to make a street scene of San Francisco, the old buildings. They're just, you can't miss them. From there, we went to Vancouver for a friend's son's wedding. And again, like when you asked Ritzi that which place is your favorite city, loved San Francisco, went to Vancouver, loved Vancouver, where we took a ferry. And again, drawing a ferry would have been a little difficult. So I just drew the view from the ferry. So when making a journal, there's no restriction about what you need to make. You just draw whatever you want or whatever you can to bring back the memory. And I think this sums it up really well. On the way back, when we had to catch a ferry back from Victoria to Vancouver, we had about 20 minutes to wait. So I drew I don't even know what this is called. This is where you get onto the ferry. And by the time I finished this picture, the ferry had already come. This is Gastown, a very cute steam run clock, and these are the whistles that blow every 15 minutes, and then the big one blows every hour. And I couldn't finish all the detailing, so I've just put some lovely black and white stickers there. Choosing these stickers because they are, again, they seem to be more in line with the old-timey design of the clock. Though this is not really old, it was, I think, made only in the 70s. On the last day there, we all went to Deep Cove, a very beautiful little lake, and lots of opportunity to paint. So the next one was New Orleans. This page was made later just to sum up everything of the city. So I often left a double spread blank and I would make like a postcard of the visit. And these things I absolutely enjoyed. The street signs on the street, off the street, are made with letter tiles of the most beautiful font. So I felt this is a nice place that I can recreate that. These are the places that we ate. So here we visited with Pradeep and Madhvi, and they took us to some lovely places. It was just beautiful. We visited Sazerac House, which is, I believe, the place where some cocktails were invented. The cocktail itself, I think, was invented in New Orleans. At least that's what they claim. So everywhere you go, they keep telling you that. And Sazerac House is a place where they have a lovely tour where they serve you little shots of cocktail as well. So this was the Spotted Cat was a music club where we went really late at night on the second night. And it was very crowded, very dark. So I could not make the interior of the club itself, but someone had made an artwork. This was like a wooden cat that was made and placed somewhere on the shelves with all the liquor bottles. And that is the only thing I could see because I'm really short. So my eyes could reach only this. And through the darkness, I drew this. And at some point, I kept coloring a little bit here or there. I think it looks very nice. I couldn't resist but buy a sticker of this of New Orleans with all these things written over here. The date of its establishment, a symbol that is used very proudly, its own little acronym. And as luck would have it, the colors over here matched with the colors of this little and bag, paper bag in which we got back some leftover beignets. So I like doing journals where there is some tactile movement. It keeps one curious. So I chose to paste this bag, but then I came back home and I looked for a recipe of beignets and I made that on a separate sheet. This is not something that I saw there, but I found it on the net and I chose to write the recipe down. So maybe at some point I'll even make these. Oh, I shall go back later. So to make this street scene, I woke up really early on the last day, the day we had to leave. I took time from everyone and went and sat there for almost 2 hours. And minus all the details, I have made the pictures uh, of the street scene. And then when we came back, I filled in all these details. So I'm going to try and show you a picture of that. So it's often very difficult to make a picture as detailed as this in one shot. But I I often take a picture of the last thing that I have drawn at whatever stage it might be, so I can show the difference between on-site and then off-site. When you're home, then you can put in a whole lot of details also and omit a few things as well. As you can see, there is a big hoarding on top of this gray building, which I've made over here. But I chose to just remove that billboard. I just hate billboards, so I just removed that. So no billboard here. I get a skyline that I want. So as an illustrator, I enjoy the fact that I have control over how my pictures look. Okay, next bit was Chicago. We literally, after New Orleans, we went to Houston for a day and then we were away. Um, and these were some of the big highlights that we went to. So we stayed with Yatin. I don't think he's here right now. And he took us to this event called Drunk Shakespeare. It's just an entertainment show for about an hour or so, where whichever city you're in, if you can catch it, please do, because it's absolute fun. It's a riot, like how I'm sure Shakespeare would have been proud of how this is conducted. And of course, the Art Institute at Chicago is an amazing gallery. I don't know why it's not spoken about as much as it should be. Fabulous, fabulous art. And Ritzi had asked me about this. What do you think about the gallery? Because she stays in Chicago. So my advice to her was to literally go to the museum every week or every 2 weeks and soak in one section at a time. That is how I think a museum should be enjoyed, especially if you live in the same town. So these pictures also were made when I came back. I took a picture of this poster by I think I've written the name of the artist. He makes photographs of people and juxtaposes faces of animals, and he has a lovely collection of these. So I had to hunt for that artist and then took the reference image and made the same poster. This poster is framed and put up outside the theater in which Drunk Shakespeare is performed. Again, another space filler, the tickets of the day pass, some places we visited. Opposite Art Institute, there is this place called the Cultural Center of Chicago, which used to be the library. And in one corner, there is this lovely shop, which is called the Buddy Shop. If you are in Chicago, please try to go there. This place is also very good, Cultural Center. You should go there just to see the interiors of that building. Absolutely spectacular. And they've got these two circular glass domes which are made, which are called with something called Tiffany glass. And they are spectacular. You must see it. And it's free. This is like a free entry space, but we saw very few people there. And of course, any stationery store in any city, I'll definitely go. So this was an event that Yatin took us. Very lovely jazz music. It was uh, a set of, I think, five people, and I tried really hard to make uh, pictures or portraits of them. I think a little more work will do over here, but now the time is gone, so I've just left it as that. Again, I took some time while everyone else was, uh, I guess, walking about, drinking coffees. I took a couple of hours to make this lovely old church on Michigan Avenue. Okay, we have past the half an hour that I promised. So I'm going to leaf through really fast. This was in Franklin. There's a nice place, I think, called the Mills, where I found these postcards, and they more or less cover a flavor of the city. So I could just write a little bit about that. This is my cousin Ranjit and Mitali's dog Astro. And he is a little frisky, so I had to take a picture of him to make this picture. Turned out really nice. I was very pleased to see. So obviously the biggest highlight of Nashville is the music in downtown Nashville. But how does one illustrate that? So I chose to just illustrate the signs that are literally littered along the sides of the street. So if you are walking around Nashville or downtown, you just walk underneath all of these. And I wanted to bring that whole crowded sense of music, and whiskey and saloon and honky tonks and everything. And that's why I chose to make something like this. So this is more like a graphic, but it makes the journal more fun because it's an unexpected graphic over here. Close to Nashville also is Franklin, and this statue is, I think, a Confederate statue in downtown Franklin. This is the city that Ranjit Mitali used to stay before, where I think, yeah, the mills were over here. And so I have this one thing. This is the only thing that I drew when I was in Nashville and came back with a blank page. Then when I made this page, it became really heavy, but I didn't know what to do with this fellow. I thought of writing something here, but it made no sense. So I just made a light map of Nashville, noting down all the places that we visited. So we stayed in Brentwood, we went to Franklin, then there was another Nolansville over here, which is hiding behind the statue, so I did not write that. And then, of course, downtown. So again, maps are a nice way of filling up space. This is still incomplete, and someday maybe I will finish it. This is downtown Franklin, an absolutely charming place full of really old buildings. The town itself was settled in 1799, and many of these buildings are maybe 100 years old or even older than that, which have been restored, and uh, they have newer shops coming. But I think this is another place where they they discourage big shops or chain stores. So you have really nice, quaint stores which are locally run. Back to Houston, we had to go to the Science Center. And it was fabulous. There were so many things. I could spend an entire week there sketching, but seemed to be the most, I guess, iconic image that I could bring back, a space suit. Now, the last part was San Antonio. And again, drawing a map is an easy way to fill up a page. Uh, this gave me the opportunity to at least write about things that we did over here, because the river walk is the biggest thing in San Antonio. And we were staying at a place on the river walk, and every day we would be just milling about in this area. And of course, the Alamo was right here, which I painted with a bunch of friends who every morning would go out sketching. And the day that they were going to the Alamo, I managed to match up with them. And we had a lovely time there. So one of the days we were there, I went for a walk in the morning and I clicked some pictures of the statues on the river walk. And there are tons of them. I could just click a few pictures. There are a few that I thought I would fill in. Maybe another day I would try and fill these as well. But these had a story, which then I have written over here, also of the river walk itself. And that was it. So I chose to thank everyone. One way is to fill up the page, but also I realized that at the end of the trip, you have fresh memories of the people that you've met and the stuff that you've done. So I chose to write a lot of the highlights over here on this page. And in the remaining pages, I chose to make a gallery for myself. This was a gallery of the paintings that I saw at the Chicago Art Institute, always the classics. And I am going to make pictures of what we saw at MoMA on this side as well, because I really enjoy how this is looking. It's just folded up and locked. And this is another little gallery. And on the backs of these, I have written the name of the artist, name of the painting, or the sculpture, so that I can remember that as well. And right at the end, I have taken out prints of all the selfies that I have taken with everyone. We hardly have picture albums anymore. Vandu, though she's here in the picture, does this a lot. She takes a whole bunch of pictures and gets them printed in a little booklet. And I love that idea so much. So I borrowed a little bit from that and I decided to print these out with the people that we were with, everyone we met, all the significant places that we went to. So just leafing through this, as always, you get a lot of memories. People at the wedding. This was the donut shop in Vancouver, our friends in Vancouver and Victoria. This is Madhvi and Anushka at Shake Shack. A friend of Madhvi's who is living an artist's dream, she's a pour painter, Rupa, and she has some of the most organized studio spaces that I have seen. Very inspiring. Someday, even I'll have a space like that. This is us in New Orleans at Cafe Du Monde. And the best thing about this trip is wherever I went, the US is filled with a whole lot of art, which is handmade. And I find that very refreshing. So it was easy to be inspired by just the stuff that we saw around here. These are some of the friends I made. These are the people whose workshops I attended. This was the entire India contingent. This time we were 6 of us were attending. And that's it.
Yeah, beautiful.
So that's the whole journal.
It's so inspiring. Wow. I loved it. I cannot believe you got done with that so quickly.
Oh, thanks, Bitsy. You guys can turn your videos on if you want so that everyone can see each other.
Wow, Aditi, this is so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Satmaya.
Yeah, I'm gonna unspotlight myself. So yes. So yeah, at the end, I'm saying every time I look at this journal, I feel like I'm back in all the cities that we went to. So it's if any of you feel you all should just pick up a journal and start doing this, especially if you travel a lot. And then the stuff like just pick up a postcard or a sticker from somewhere and write it. Even if you're not illustrating, you can always write something about your journeys, print and paste some photographs, and you can have something like that for later. So I have maybe 5 or 6 such journals, and every time I go through them, because you have spent time in doing that illustration, you tend to see or remember many more things than you would as a photograph. Thanks, Matali. Thanks, Matali. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Yes, Pradeep.
I was just going to say, Aditi, this is a great, really nice attention to detail, which of course you're good at, but there's also a really nice way to keep those memories, like you said, because otherwise it's just pictures, right? And you don't really put any details against the pictures. So very nice, really, really nicely done.
Thank you. It was so much, I mean, it was great because all of you guys were very patient with me also. Every time I had to go and sketch somewhere, you all just let me be and gave me all the time. So even that made a lot of difference. Okay, so thank you again, everyone. I have recorded this session. I'm going to share it with everybody. Then if you have any friends who'd like to see it, you can freely share it with whoever.
Nice to see you all. We'll talk separately.
Thanks, Aditi. It was so beautiful.
Thank you, Pratima. I'm glad you could attend. So
Yeah,
Pratima
it
was
was
my
amazing.
roommate in San Antonio.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
amazing.
okay.
Like, I'm a part of it somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ritzi. And thanks, everyone.
Bye.
And
Thanks, Aditi.
hopefully I will come back again and we shall meet again. And in the meantime, of course, if any of you feel you want to sign up, join any, do any art with me, feel free to connect with me and we'll figure something out. And next time you all are traveling, think about it. Just take a small diary and try doing something for yourselves and then share it with all of us. Okay, so I guess that's it. I'm going to say good night. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye, Aru. Bye, Ida.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh.